How do I know that my desire for full-time ministry is from God or not? Not just seeking honor from men. Well, I'll tell you something. There are very few people whom God calls into full-time ministry. God called me into full-time ministry when I was 24 years old. But it had to be a very clear call, because I was in the Navy and had other ambitions to go to the top in the Navy when God called me. But I'll tell you one thing. If it is a real call from God, you'll have to sacrifice something very, very precious. If you have nothing to sacrifice, it's definitely not a call from God. 95% of Christian workers in India have never sacrificed anything for their full-time Christian work. They did badly in school. They couldn't get admission in college. So the parents decided, let him go to Bible college, because there the education is free and he can be a preacher and he can get paid like a pastor. Useless. It's a disgrace. Do you ever find Jesus calling an unemployed person to be an apostle? No. He always called people who were working, a fisherman, or someone who was working tax collector like Matthew. You don't even find one example of someone who was doing nothing called to be a full-time worker. And 95% of Christian workers in India are like that. That's why they are such a disgrace to the name of Christ. Jesus is our example. He gave up something precious to serve God on earth. Follow his example. So ask yourself, are you giving up something precious in order to be in full-time work? Or you didn't find any other job, so you want to be a pastor? That's crazy. Follow Jesus' example. And I've seen in my life that the people who have blessed me the most are the ones who have sacrificed something very precious, and who, when they came into Christian work, earned. I know when I left my job in the Navy as a naval officer and came to Christian work, my income dropped 85%. That was one proof that God had called me, and I was happy in it. But I find a lot of Christian workers today, they are earning 5-10 times what they would have earned if they were in a secular job. Look at all these television preachers. If they were doing a secular job, they wouldn't have all these private planes and all these type of stuff. They're deceiving people. Don't follow such examples. Jesus Christ did not gain by coming to earth. He lost. Peter did not make more money. He was making a lot of money as a fisherman. He became poor when he served the Lord. Paul, he was much wealthier before he came to full-time work. So that's one of the tests to see whether God has called you. And I believe God calls 1 in 1,000 to serve him. And it has to be a clear call. When God calls you, I've never regretted. I've been serving the Lord 53 years now, and I'm full of the joy of the Lord, always been full of the joy of the Lord, because I know God called me. So I find that you've got to be very careful. And I would say also, seek advice from some godly person before you think of going out into full-time Christian work.